Oh my god! Wait! Did you hear that Diplo's still like having sex with like teenage girls? I used to have sex with Diplo when I was 17. No, Diplo's preying. He's preying, and he's always been like preying on kind of like young, ethnic girls, like, you know.
MIA, all of them.
Yeah.
Imagine this. It's the early 2000s and every track that you love features Diplo on it. Whether it was dance clubs playing his songs back to back or stadiums packed with EDM enthusiasts waiting to watch the DJ perform his hit tracks, Diplo was definitely a phenomenon of his own in the world of pop culture. That is, of course, before it all came crashing down. So what went wrong? How did Diplo manage to kill his own career? Born in November 1978, Thomas Wesley Pentz, or Diplo, spent a lot of his life in Miami, which is where he developed an eccentric taste for music and started working as a DJ for a local radio station in Florida. From there, he started performing at local gigs and soon realized that he had the potential to become a full-time professional DJ. Not only was Diplo spinning records, but he soon realized that he was also pretty talented at making them. So, after releasing a few mixtapes, he came out with a full album titled Florida in 2004, which became one of the most successful debut albums of the year. It was then that he decided to take his career to a new level and opened up his own studio called the Mausoleum, which went on to become the holy grail of recording locations for some of the most prominent artists in the world, including Shakira, Gucci Mane, and even the Queen Bee herself, Beyonce. In fact, Diplo's venture as a record producer was so successful because people already loved his sound and knew that working with him would help them add the same magic to their own work. This is exactly why he was approached by MIA at one of his DJing gigs, and the two ended up collaborating on a mixtape. But this was only the start of Diplo's long-term partnership with the singer. He went on to produce her Grammy-nominated track Paper Planes, which peaked at number 4 on the Billboard, helping Diplo become a mainstream name in the world of pop. However, the two never worked together again because MIA claimed that Diplo started getting jealous at the recognition that the singer was getting and tried to hold her back by sabotaging her music. This was the first allegation that was put on Diplo in the entirety of his music career. However, since MIA didn't really pursue it further, people just sort of, well, forgot about it. Diplo, on the other hand, was working with some of the biggest names in the industry, like Robin, Bruno Mars, and Snoop Dogg, and the list was never ending. His label, called Mad Decent, was acquiring more and more artists every day. And not just that, but Diplo himself went on to work as a producer for artists like Beyonce, Justin Bieber, Britney Spears, Ariana Grande, and Usher. In fact, Diplo's biggest claim to fame when he had the chance to produce 2 tracks on Beyonce's hit album Lemonade, with one of the tracks being the chart climber Hold Up. So it's safe to say that Diplo's career was on the right track. At this point, Diplo had become somewhat of a pop culture icon, changing the game of electronic dance music. He was making headlines when he attended the 2015 Met Gala with Madonna, and then again when he performed at the live-streamed Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner wedding. So just like the title of his 2014 album said, this random white dude be everywhere. Despite the fact that Diplo started out with a genre that is essentially voiceless, making it easy for tons of artists to get lost somewhere in the void, he managed to make his way up and make the entire world move to his beat. So, what made Diplo so successful in a genre that's so saturated? Well, that's because he took advantage of the timing. He entered the game when EDM was in full swing and found a way to connect with the masses. As a result, he was able to incorporate EDM with just about any genre in the world, leading to the formation of his own record label that became one of Hollywood's most trusted ones, simply because of Diplo's talent and knack for music production. Diplo didn't just make the music, he built a brand around it, and that's what helped him become so successful. Diplo went on to be nominated for several Grammy Awards for all the work that he did. Because of his musical influence, the DJ also landed a late-night show on BBC called Diplo and Friends, where he invited musicians to curate mixes and talk about the industry in general. However, what no one saw coming was the fact that beneath all the success, there was a dark side to Diplo. It all started when Diplo's ex-girlfriend, Shelly August, accused him of sexual assault. The woman allegedly dated the DJ in 2020 when Diplo was 42 years old and she was in her early 20s. Shelly claimed that he started distributing inappropriate videos of her once the two had broken up. Shelly ended up filing a restraining order against Diplo, saying that he was doing all of this to humiliate her. And if you think that's where the story ends, buckle up, because this is one hell of a ride. Shelly then went on to talk about how inappropriate her relationship with the DJ had been, claiming that he'd actually given her chlamydia and had initiated non-consensual physical contact with her on multiple occasions, and even going so far as to film their acts without permission. At the end of her claims, Shelly went on to talk about how Diplo had a history of young girls, which is exactly what happened to her as well. August then publicly shared screenshots from other women who had experienced the same kind of behavior during their relationships with the artist, with several of them being infected by STDs because of Diplo. Shelly went on to say that Diplo had hired a private investigator after the two had fallen out to find out her address, her parents' address, her workplace, and tons of other things to scare her into not saying anything publicly. Now, of course, Diplo went on to deny all of these allegations, saying that Shelly was a consenting adult in their relationship and claiming that she was nothing but an obsessed fan who couldn't handle it when Diplo ended things between them. Diplo shared his version of the story on Instagram, calling Shelly a scammer who only wanted to extort him out of his money. I stopped contact with her when I realized she had started to become obsessed with me. It began a nightmare of almost 3 years of her and threatening me, my family, and my friends. For a while, it looked like the matter was going to end then and there. But then, rapper Azalea Banks, who was discovered by Diplo, went on the record to say that while she did owe the DJ her career, he always tried to take advantage of her to the point where he groomed her to perform sexual favors for him. This explosive allegation took everyone back to MIA's claims of mental abuse against Diplo, and all of this combined with Shelly's story was leading people to believe that there might be more to the story than the DJ was trying to show. And if that wasn't enough, in 2021 a fourth woman came forward and claimed that Diplo had SA'd her after a performance in Las Vegas, locking her in a room and not letting her leave until she gave in to his demands. And while the woman did drop her case in 10 days, it's possible that she might have been bought off or threatened by the DJ, because we know that he isn't above any of that. But if you do a deep dive of his social media, it's now pretty obvious that the DJ has always been a little problematic. From making fun of the horrible allegations on R. Kelly and his cult to tweeting girls born in the 90s, I have to stop sleeping with you back in 2010, which would make these girls about 10 to 11 years old when Diplo himself was about 30 at the time. With so many allegations against the DJ, where he has clearly shown a pattern of preying on young girls, especially women of color, for some weird messed up reason, Diplo's career had been on a downward spiral. And while he has continued to release music, none of it is being met with the same kind of enthusiasm that he was once used to. With all of these cases looming over the DJ's head, it's safe to assume that Diplo's career will probably never return to what it once was. So Plug Gang, what are your thoughts on the situation? Do you think Diplo's career is finally over for good? Or will he ever be able to make a comeback from all of this? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out the next one.